Blended learning, helping students engage in 21st century skills. Before we dive into blended learning, I wanted to highlight a few things on the video animate adapted from the talk of Sir Ken Robinson. He touches on how everything around the world is changing, therefore the education system needs to be changing too, and that degrees don't guarantee a job anymore. Students are being asked to be innovative and creative, and if we don't give them the opportunity to do that, they're not going to be successful as this technology-rich world continues to change. Therefore, we need to highlight their strengths and give them opportunities in order to show what they can do in every possible way. Blended learning helps to provide these opportunities for students to be successful, as well as engage in 21st century skills through web-based learning and online collaboration. Blended learning is face-to-face, online, access, e-learning, teacher instruction. It provides students with flexibility in time, location, and personalization of their individual projects. I think about Google Classroom. If a teacher posts an assignment, the student has the flexibility to do it any time of the day that they choose. Some students might work better in the morning, some students might work better in the evening, and blended learning provides this flexibility. Schools can also control the environment. Teachers can go in and see what students are working on as they're working on it. And it really gives the opportunity for students to truly master every concept before moving on to the next, because they have gone through different collaborative efforts as well as rotations, giving them the best opportunity to master the concept rather than through a lecture and a standardized assessment. It really gives students control over their learning and highlights individual strengths. And I'd like to highlight the 4 types of blended learning: lab rotation, classroom rotation, flex, and pod. So we have lab rotation. As you can see in this diagram, students are receiving direct instruction in different content areas and then rotating through a learning lab or a computer lab. As you can see, the teacher is not even in the learning lab. These are paraprofessionals who can provide support or safety for the students as they are working on their individual projects. And then teachers will go and look in Google Classroom to see what the students are working on or whatever avenue that they're using for the assignments. Classroom rotation looks a little bit different. This is rotating throughout the classroom, in which the teacher will actually have an individual group that will rotate to her. This is really important because students will get individualized instruction according to their ability. A lot of teachers will group students in different, whatever level that they are in, so that they can provide the best instruction that they can when they come to see the teacher. And then the rest of the groups are working independently or they're working collaboratively on the computer to complete the assignment. The next area is called flex. This is in a collaborative space where every student is working on a computer, and then the teacher can walk around and provide support if needed, but more so the teacher will often pull groups into either a breakout room or a studio lab. You can see in this diagram there's many different avenues that the teacher can break out and collaborate with students individually as they work in the collaborative space. And the last area is called pod. This is kind of a school within a school, so to speak. As you can see on the left-hand side here, these are classrooms in which the teacher will provide direct instruction. And then this whole area is a collaborative space. You can see students are working on the back wall using their Chromebooks or laptops. And then there's even a Promethean board out here for even smaller group instruction led by the teacher or possibly other students for presentations. I actually got to see this model firsthand when I did my internship. There's a research school down in Florida that FAU, Florida Atlantic University, funded, and they were able to provide the entire school with these collaborative spaces where the rooms actually opened up so that students could go in and out of the classroom in order to work with each other. The coolest assignment that I saw when I was doing my internship is that 3 different subject areas actually came together to create one assignment. So students from a social studies classroom, English classroom, and math classroom were all working on the same assignment. When I think about my own classroom and how it relates to blended learning, I liked this quote from Gerbic. It says, "Teaching using a blended approach is a complex undertaking where teachers have to address varied discipline and professional learning outcomes, different student capabilities, and institutional conditions, as well as creating an effective pedagogy by using the strengths of face-to-face and online settings in an integrated fashion." I'm a special educator, therefore we constantly are taking data and looking at the individualized approach, as well as meeting the needs of the learner, whether that's computer-based or material-based. I think of every day in my classroom we break out into small groups, and I have created individualized instruction for each of my students. Now, I have to do a lot of that because each of them have an IEP and require certain skills to be mastered on a quarterly basis, but it really puts into perspective the effort that is really needed in order to help students succeed in their strengths. Not everybody has 6 students in their classroom and has the flexibility in order to individualize their instruction, but I think that teachers can do a really good job using this blended learning approach, such as classroom rotation or the pod concept, where students can collaborate with each other or create opportunities for students to work on assignments at home or different times during the day when they feel that they can do their best learning. A different viewpoint that I read in Gerbic was one study showed teachers have a strong preference for teaching face-to-face because they believe it enabled them to build a better relationship with students, model good practice, and be more active and practice-focused in the classroom. I would agree to this at some degree. I think when I look at online classes, it's really difficult to build that relationship with your professor. Look at this comic here. I'm not used to communicating face-to-face. Can we conduct this interview via text? It really puts it into perspective what we're used to nowadays. We're used to communicating via text or email or through social media. And I think that there's still a lot that we can learn from face-to-face interaction, even if it's through virtual face-to-face, such as FaceTime or Skype or Google Connect. There's something to be said about reading inflections and nonverbal cues. So last, I'll end with another quote from Gerbic. It's, "Teachers are still needed. Blended learning clearly indicates that teachers will not be replaced with technology and that teachers will continue to have a pivotal role in learning, particularly through course and design. Blended learning really shows us that teachers aren't going to be replaced, that direct instruction is still needed, that interaction with students is still needed in order to foster learning and help students to be successful, that blending direct instruction and technology is just going to enhance students' ability and bring out those strengths that we talked about at the beginning. So here are my references, and those are my points on blended learning.